So I'm Audra Janella, and this is my 75 E150. We were here last year and we did one of these videos last year on her. We've made some progress. We no longer have our Chevy mirrors. We are back into actual Ford mirrors. Most of her body is still the same. We've added her side pipes, which are actually partially a Patriot kit and a 3-inch straight pipe that, I don't know if you can get it on the camera, but she is actually painted orange underneath the heat shield that is actually black, so she is two-toned. We still have our Ford flag. Nice. Haven't done a whole lot to the body. I don't remember for sure if she had her safety chain so that I didn't lose her fuel cap or not last year, but for sure we've added that guy so that I don't have to worry about matching it up again or repainting it or anything else at this point. It works nicely so that I don't leave it at the pump, because goodness knows I'm known for it.
And your wheels, you got the same wheels, but they're all cleaned up nice.
Yes, we did get those nicely cleaned up. We got all that brake dust and road grime and stuff that was caboted on those off. They did clean up much better than I anticipated. I thought I was going to be painting them of some sort or powder coating or something along those lines. But he proved me wrong in that he was able to clean them up and make them look absolutely gorgeous. So instead, we are going to probably put some type of protective coating so that it just makes it easier to keep them clean, since they are a raw aluminum rim. So eventually up here on her visor, she will actually have her name, Wild and Free. It'll be Wild here on the passenger side. In that little divot, it'll have the letter N with its two little hyphens. And then over on the other side will be Free. She's also got a license plate and license plate surround coming that will also say Wild and Free, and that'll actually say Wild and Free Queen, since, you know, she's mine and she's my queen and her flowers aren't going anywhere. She will eventually be getting a air scoop that will be a fully functioning cold air intake for her to help feed some more air into that big block of a 460 that we have in there. All right, so at this point, we haven't changed out the motor to the 429 Thunderjet that we want to, but we have made some repairs to this one to make her more energy efficient, fuel efficient, however you want to look at that. So we've done a new carb, we've done new distributor, we've done almost all the gaskets. The intake manifold, the valve gaskets, the rear main seal has been replaced. The oil pan gasket is also new. It's a 4-piece gasket, which has made it real interesting. There was 5 of us to do that. But we got her done. So we've also, granted you won't be able to see it in this video, but we've also added lights to where all of her grill and engine bay is fully lit up, along with the interior and the exterior. We'll go ahead and open her up, take a look. As I said, we've got new carburetor on her, new distributor, new intake manifold, different valve covers along with gaskets, obviously. That kind of goes in hand. We've cleaned up some of her wiring that we don't have as much dangling and doing its own thing due to age and all of that fun jazz.
Right.
We haven't quite cleaned up her radiator yet. That's one of the tasks in hand. We haven't decided if we're going to take it back to the copper look or if we're going to repaint it. I haven't made a decision there. That's part of why that isn't done yet. But as you can see, we've redone the brake booster and the master cylinder, that those are all cleaned up in a pretty blue again. So that's about it with the engine itself at this point. But I can go ahead and fire her up for a minute.
Yeah, let's hear it. Oh yeah. That's beautiful.
Yes, yes. I can't wait to finish the other engine and get it in.
Yeah.
It'll be even better, especially with them straight pipes.
Oh yeah.
It'll be absolutely gorgeous. She has come a long way from where she was. Not where I want her quite yet. But you know, are they ever really finished?
Work in progress. That's it.
Absolutely.
It's always the fun part.
So far, we have replaced the gauges that we have over here, so the voltage gauge is actually accurate. The oil pressure, once again, is now accurate, so we know what's going on in there. We've got also our temperature gauge, so for sure the thermostat that we put in her is working properly. We are running 160 degrees, so we're good there. We also have our tacks so that we know where our RPMs are, so that we have an idea of necessarily how hard we were running her. We also changed out the steering wheel. I believe last year it was actually just sitting here. I don't think it was actually on yet. So it is now on. I've also added my Moogle. She kind of hides my light controls so that you don't necessarily notice it up there on the dashboard. So that we're keeping it as old school as possible with just a touch of new so that we know what's going on. Because goodness knows none of the original clusters were ever completely accurate or reliable. So it's one of those that we're aware of it, so they're there. We've discussed in the idea of throwing around and changing them out and making them a digital and going to more today style, but I really think that I want to keep it as original as possible, especially here in the cockpit since all the wild's in the back.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So last year, originally we had a curtain going across and a cooler here. We have since actually rearranged that so that now the curtains go at each of the doors to give us our privacy in the evening. We have different seats. Last year's they were gray front seats. We got these beautiful blue ones along with this bench as a set. We weren't quite sure if we were going to use the bench, but the more that we discussed it, we decided to go ahead and do it because then currently the pillows are laying so that you would lay across the van, but actually at bedtime we actually flip them so that they're at the back door. And this gives Honey the extra room that he needs, being 6 foot compared to my 5 foot self, because this is plenty enough for me, but for him to give us the extra room so that we're both able to be comfortable. We have that guy. It also makes it that if we get rained out or something and need to kick it in the van, we got plenty of room. We can fit at least 4 or 5 of us comfortably to where nobody's feeling like they're on top of one another. My mirror, when it is plugged in and lit, it actually looks like a full moon there.
That's cool.
And Bubba still works.
Nice. Oh yeah.
Yes,
No kidding.
yes,
Oh.
Bubba still works.
What was that?
So he still does his thing and he still yells at you.
I told you not to let go. What are you doing? I hate when you grab my mouth.
So yes, you know, we are always a child at some point of the day, so we still have our toys.
Oh yeah. Gotta have them.
Absolutely, got to have some kind of entertainment.
How about the ceiling now?
So
yeah.
the ceiling, we actually is 3 rugs that I got from BJ's Wholesale. That I had some lady actually have to get up into a whole nother bin to find me these 3 because there was only 1 in the bin that I was looking at, and obviously I knew I needed more than just 1. I actually ended up getting 5 of them. But all of the wood up here was either originally purchased for another project and we ended up learning that we didn't need them, or they're actually pieces and parts of pallets that I tore apart. Yes, I did nail myself with the hammer a few times, both the claws and the head, so we're not even going to discuss what kind of klutz I am. But we did manage that, but we got it all poured apart. All of it is just burned with a torch. I had some fun with it. I polyed some of them were not polyed, all depending on where they were going, because I didn't want to create too much of a glare. The front obviously isn't finished. Eventually a sunroof is going up there, so I didn't feel like wasting materials, since obviously if I'm reusing pallet wood, I'm all about reduce, reuse, and recycle. So it's coming along greatly. She has slowly picked up different rocks and little knick and knacks to add here and there. I do have my grandfather's original.
Oh wow, yeah.
Goodness knows that that guy's probably older than I am. But he used that whenever he actually worked for Ford in the ball bearing plant.
Oh, very cool.
To check specs and stuff.
Right.
I don't know if you're able to get it, but there's actually his initials here in it.
I can get it. No problem.
So I figured since I was doing this in memory of him, the only way to do it right was to involve him both on the exterior and the inside. So that's one of his pieces in here. As I come across them over time, I've got a couple pieces that I'm on the hunt of, but I haven't gotten them yet. They're on the way. Once they get here, I'll slowly add them in. But you know, can't add too much at once, because otherwise, eventually it just becomes the same old thing.
Yep, exactly.
So she's got a few pieces that I haven't added to her yet this year that'll probably be coming out next year. Few pieces that I still need to locate and get for her. So here we are at the back. Some of this was here last year, some of it was not. I've added and changed up some of the flagging and where it's placed. So we've still got our flag for all of our sources. Because no matter what, I'll always support every one of them. Grandpa was in the military, so was my great-grandfather. So I have a love for our military and our commanders and whatnot, even when they are essentially failing us. But that will not change my support for our forces. I've used, technically they are supposed to be pillowcases, but I felt that they were perfect to make curtains to cover our storage bins that are tucked up underneath. So all of the little essentials we've got tucked under here. We've got one that's all of our shower stuff and that kind of thing. Case of water, because you know, you can never have too much water. Cleaning supplies, bug repellent, help stay cool on a sunny, hot day kind of thing, tucked in here. Charcoal tucked underneath along with the grill up front, but it's all tucked to where it's hidden. It works perfectly, and whenever they're down, you don't see any of it. And then we also rhino lined all of the flooring so that everything has a rhino lining, because goodness knows I'm an accident prone fool. So my carpet and all can completely be brought out, pressure washed off, thrown over the fence to let dry and be clean, and then she doesn't necessarily recognize or show that I'm a mess, and I spill my coffee at least once a day. So yeah, we haven't completely finished all of her edges back here, but for the most part, as she sits is the way that she'll be finished. We've got a few things to add to just kind of soften some of the edges and give her a little more rounded and finished look here.
Yeah, well, you did
But
a lot in a year's time.
absolutely we did. We haven't made a decision in what we wanted to do, so that's why it's kind of unfinished, because it was one of those that brings me back to that reduce, reuse, recycle idea, that I don't want to put something up there and then determine that I absolutely hate it. So I'm kind of holding off until I figure out what exactly I want to do. We've thrown a couple of ideas around of either like a tool kind of ruled to create a finished edge, so then any lighting and whatnot that we have in here will still be visible, because there's lights tucked up in here, there's lights tucked around the edges that for the most part we put them to where you cannot see them from the exterior, but during light and bright or shine and bright or whatever it's called, you'll be able to see all of that.
Okay, cool.
So
Yeah, we'll have that on as well. Yeah.
but yeah, she's nicely lit up. She's getting there, and
You guys did great. Well, thank you again for showing it to us.
absolutely thank you for
And
once again doing this.
We have to do another update
Absolutely.
next year when you have it all finished.
Well, I don't know that she'll ever necessarily be all finished, because I mean, really, are they ever truly finished?
That's
It may
the
look
question,
finished,
right?
but she's not a fan of 55, and it's 55 out front of my house. So at the end of the day, it's one of those, I'm not looking for picture perfect. I'm looking for reliable. And at this point, she is exactly practical. She serves my purpose, that she goes to shows. I can take her camping and enjoy her, even if it's primitive and it's just a grill that we have to cook on. I have a comfortable bed. I know that the rain ain't coming in, and if it does, well, it's not on the bed. At this point, I ain't found any leaks on the up.
Well, we're going to look forward to the next one.
Yes, sir, and I can't wait to see where we're at and be able to compare each of them compared to each other and keep going. So,
Well, thank you again for showing her to us again.
absolutely, thank you for taking the time to do it again.